Greetings, welcome, thank you for being here. I love you. Thank you for joining me as I dive into another topic along the lines of physics. And I'm gonna put my intention now into speaking only truth, speaking what needs to be shared through the vessel of my beingness. And I had a comment today on one of the videos, a request from one of you all, glorious souls, to talk about charge collapse. And I'm really grateful because this is a topic that I want to understand better myself. So pushing me to explain topics that I might not be 100% comfortable yet doing, it helps me grow in the ways that I need to grow. So thank you for that suggestion, kind dear soul. And also thank you to the other glorious soul who suggested a golden ratio for yesterday's video. That was great. Keep them coming. The more that this is like a conversation, a study group, a private little study group club where we're all involved, then it releases pressure from my shoulders. And you know, I'm not perfect. Please, if you think there's something that needs to be added or something that can be explained better, this is an opportunity for all of us to take part to assist each other in gaining better understanding, better comprehension of some of these topics, which are really not that hard to understand. And my goal is to explain everything in simple terms, in using visuals and graphics, etc., etc. So I've got a nice little shungite pyramid here. Hope you all are enjoying that. So let's get started. This is pretty off the cuff, but I feel like I can do it. Again, helping me build my confidence in my own comprehension, understanding, however you want to say it, of these topics related to physics and math and science and understanding the world around us. So, without further ado, today's topic is charge collapse. It just feels good to say it, doesn't it? Charge collapse. Like, wrap your mouth, your teeth, your tongue, your lips, wrap it around those words. Charge collapse. Order. Neg entropy. It's great. It just feels great to say it. So, charge collapse. Okay. So, if we're thinking about energy and we're seeing our world as plasma vortexes, if we want to look at this reality, you know, we can look at it through many different lenses. Sometimes I think of everything as just tiny little pixels of consciousness. But today, let's look at the world through the lens of everything being plasma vortexes. After all, 99.99% of our universe is hydrogen existing in a plasma state. Wow, that's pretty incredible. It seems like understanding hydrogen and plasma vortexes would be really helpful for our understanding. So, charge collapse. If we take this lens and we take this opportunity to look at everything in our reality as these swirling vortexes of energy. And then if we want to think on an atomic level, protons, neutrons, electrons, plus and minus, and then these neutral particles. So all the information of our reality is basically being stored or existing as information in the form of plus and minus and neutral. You could think of it as 0, +1, and -1, or neutrons, protons, electrons, however you want to think about it. So when we talk about charge collapse, we picture in our mind's eye this beautiful plasma vortex spiraling down to Planck, the tiniest measurable unit in our universe. So this plasma vortex can become very large when our energy is very large and expanded, but it's actually an ability for us to bring our energy, vortex it down to Planck, down to that tiniest point, this tiniest little point of implosion. But now we can think of each of us being a little pixel of energy in our heart, our connection to source, our connection to the 0 point, our authentic beingness, who we are authentically that is unique. But we're here having a human experience in an expanded state, expanding out from this one tiny point in our heart. So when we expand outward, the energy is vortexing outward. But now we want to stay complete, right? We want to remain that completely authentic self, our special little unique pixel. So we want to vortex out, but then we always want to be able to vortex back in whole, complete, without losing anything. So if we picture ourselves as this tiny little pixel of light, or this little pixel, Planck-sized pixel in our heart connected to source, we vortex out and we vortex back in. My understanding is that this is happening all the time. Our energy is always vortexing out and vortexing back in. And again, we want to remain whole. We want to keep all of the parts of ourselves that are unique and authentic. So, charge collapse. We plasma vortex out, but we want to plasma vortex right back in without losing anything. And this is where the golden ratio comes in, the golden spiral. Because with the golden spiral, okay, let's see here. So let's talk about the sacred geometry. All around us is like these beautiful, it's like the sacred geometry is all around us all the time. And if you look at, there's this particular formation, Dan Winter has named it the Star Mother, and this is the dominant sacred geometry in our reality. So the Star Mother sacred geometry, it starts with octahedron in the center, 8-sided. Basically, if you were to take this 4-sided pyramid and have one on the top and one on the bottom, so 8 sides, all triangles. So the octahedron, and then you have 2 tetrahedrons, a star tetrahedron. It's just like this. Okay, so you have your octahedron in the middle, and then you have this star tetrahedron around the octahedron. And then on the outside of the star tetrahedron is the cube. And then, let's see, after the cube is the dodecahedron. And then, I don't have a icosahedron handy, but let me slow down a little bit. So you have octahedron, 8 sides, all triangles. You have star tetrahedron. Each tetrahedron has 4 sides, all triangles. Encapsulating this is the cube, 6 sides, all squares. These are the platonic solids, by the way. And then encapsulating the cube, which is also known as a hexahedron, hex meaning 6. Encapsulating the cube is the dodecahedron, 12 sides, all pentagons. And encapsulating the dodecahedron is an icosahedron, 20 sides, all triangles. And then you have another dodecahedron. So it goes octahedron, star tetrahedron, cube, dodecahedron, icosahedron, dodecahedron. And this is the Star Mother sacred geometry formation, which in a near future video, I will be assembling a Star Mother kit, which should be a lot of fun, so you can see it in action. Okay, so we have this sacred geometry all around us. And the distance from each node in these sacred geometry formations is aligns with golden ratio. So the number will always be perfectly divisible by 1.618 and followed by a lot more numbers. So by having this perfect, beautiful, sacred geometry nest all around us, it allows that the plasma to perfectly vortex in. The sacred geometry is like this gorgeous special nest that allows the energy to flow in and out very smoothly without losing any information. So charge collapse describes that process when the plasma vortexes all the way down to Planck perfectly. If you want to say perfected charge collapse, I suppose charge collapse doesn't need to be perfect, but if we're going to talk about perfected charge collapse, it basically means that the the information of our beingness, of anything in this reality, is able to collapse all the way down to Planck, or smaller perhaps, but in our universe, let's look at Planck. It's all the information can be collapsed down into Planck, this tiny unit at the point of implosion, the center point, without losing any information. So if we want to look at our soul's ability to expand out and embed in the larger array, basically means we can make our beingness very large, our aura very large, but we can also spiral vortex down into Planck and squeeze through any of these nodes without losing any part of ourselves. So, charge collapse. Order. When I think of charge collapse, I think of order. This ability to take a large amount of information, swirl it down into a tiny little point, and all the information can be stored in that point. Another word that's used to describe this is neg entropy, meaning negative entropy. We have entropy, we have chaos, we have you think of it as chaos, expansion. We live in the world, we do things, we interact, and we become expanded, but then there's times when you need to clean your house, right? Or you need to get your car fixed, you need to maybe get your finances in order, and it's this process of bringing everything back into order. So I like to think of charge collapse as bringing everything back into order, to where, all right, I'm here in my heart, I'm my authentic self, I'm in control of my reality. I've gone from a state of entropy and chaos and expansion back into being tiny little pixel in my heart connected to source. Okay, that felt a little bit chaotic, a little bit all over the place, but really, when you want to think of charge collapse, it's basically by using this sacred geometry, which perfectly nests the golden ratio spiral vortexes. It's like the perfect little nest for that plasma to vortex in. And it allows all of that charge to perfectly collapse down to Planck without losing any information, without losing any part of ourselves or whatever the thing or beingness may be. And one other thing that I wanted to mention along those lines, well, anyway, I suppose that about covers it. This is definitely something that I'd like to talk more with you all about, or with other people. It's a nice topic to really try to wrap our minds around and really feel, what is charge collapse? What does that mean to us when we hear those words? But basically, again, expressing ourselves through information in this reality while still being able to come all the way back down to that Planck point of perfection, of individual, authentic self, if we want to relate it to the human experience. And to be able to vortex out and back in, out and back in. And this is what helps us to be able to, if we can make ourselves tiny and squeeze through Planck, we can basically embed into the nodes of all this sacred geometry around us. We can use our mind's eye, our consciousness, to travel to any point in the universe, just with our consciousness, with our mind. And just believing we have that ability is key. But when we go there, do we really Okay, I feel like you all got it. I hope this helps. I hope there was some wisdom embedded into this. Felt like I was going for a little bit of a ride myself, but perhaps there will be more drawings of this coming in the future. One topic that is related is heterodyning, where the waves and the frequencies basically are able to smoothly interact with each other, again, to where there's nothing is lost. Okay, I think that about does it for me. Probably maybe the rockiest video I've done, but I like being pushed outside my comfort zone, and yeah, again, perhaps there will be a future more calm, relaxed, slow video where I can have my pretty little diagrams and whatnot, but maybe I need your help to get there. Maybe I need to hear from you all, and we need to talk about it more, of what is charge collapse and how does that work. But overall, picture the nodes in the sacred geometry and the waves of the plasma vortex passing through these nodes so perfectly, and the energy all aligning with each other so that it can be compressed. And as that energy is swirling down and compressing, it gains momentum, it gains centripetal force. And that's what allows us to squeeze ourselves through these nodes at the tiniest point of Planck, be able to make ourselves very small. Okay, thank you for being here. Thank you for merging your consciousness together with mine and everyone else who's watching this, whatever point in time and space, wherever you are, whenever you are, we're all together now, and I'm just the guide, but you all are as important in this as I am. Trust me, believe me, it's true. This is just a journey, and I'm just trying to guide a bunch of us on this fun little journey together. So, all right. Thank you again for being here. Until next time. Later.